My name is Reed Harris. We're going to have Chris come out in just a second. I'm going to do a contest today, all right? The best question, I'm going to send you a bag of merchandise. All right, so we're going to sit on the sidelines here, myself and some of the PR people, and whoever asks the best question at the end of the show, I'll give you my business card, and we'll send you a package with quite a lot of nice things. So today we have Chris Weidman, the All-American. Chris is 9-0, and as you guys all saw when he fought Mark Munoz, he's a contender. Good fighter. We have a little feature to show you, and Chris will be out in just a second.
Right now, at this point, I 100% believe I could beat everybody in my weight class.
Chris Weidman, unbeaten in his mixed martial arts career.
I refuse to stop. I refuse to lose. I got in the sport to be champion, and I'm getting closer and closer to that, working every day as hard as I can to get that belt. UFC changed my life tremendously. I was able to buy my first house. I got out of my parents' basement. Yeah, I knew at that point I'm able to support my family, and I'm doing this for the right reason.
He has the attitude, he has the talents, the wrestling. This is just a massive opportunity.
If someone's going to beat me, it's going to be because they're better than me. I really want to go out there and make a statement and get a really pleasing victory.
Every time I've had a full training camp, I've got to finish. Every single time. I want Anderson Silva. Give me a shot, please.
All right, so we got the microphones right there. Line up for your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris, the All-American Weidman.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming out. Definitely a big honor to see so many people here. So I guess we're starting with questions. Where's this happening from? Oh, right there.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
First off, congratulations with your victory over Munoz.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, we see a lot of fighters that are up and coming that all of a sudden have this title fight that are in the spotlight. They get there and they start to crumble. It's not because they don't have the talent. It's more of a mentality thing. How do you make sure that you're mentally strong for every fight?
You know, that's a good question. At this point in the game, you know, like when you're in high school, I think the physicality is more important than the mentality. But when you get in the upper echelon of any sport, I think it kind of is almost at like a 90% is mental, 10% physical. Because everybody's quick, everyone's talented, everybody's strong. So, I mean, you just have to really believe in your mentality and be confident. And I wrestled my whole life, and I've lost because I beat myself, plenty of times. And through those experiences, I told myself I'm not going to let that happen again, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. I got my degree in psychology. I think that helps a little bit. But, oh well.
Maybe a tad.
A little bit. Don't ask me any psychology questions, all right? I won't be that good.
When you were training to fight Munoz, was it because you were training you pretty much were prepared for what he was going to try to pull? Was that why it was sort of easy for you, or was the training just, I don't want to say it went to waste, but it didn't. It was just easy for you anyway?
You're too cute. What's your name?
I'm Emma.
Oh, that's awesome. Your parents are here too?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good question too. That's how you kind of want it to be. Best case scenario, your training camp wants to be harder than when you actually get in the cage. So you practice hard, you work hard, and then when you get in the cage, it's the easy part. It's just time to have fun. And going back to the mentality thing, you only have control over a couple things in fighting. You can't make it too complex. Basically, all you have control over is working hard when you're training, and then working hard when you get in that cage. If you start thinking about too many different things, you're gonna hurt yourself, and you end up losing, before you even get in the octagon.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Hey Chris, big USC fan. You destroyed Mark Munoz.
Thank you.
So, Are you going to get the fight with Anderson Silva? If you do, you'll have a full training camp. He's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Do you really think you can take him?
I like you, man. You're hysterical. That was great. Hey, man. Anderson Silva, I agree with you. He's definitely pound for pound best fighter of all time. I really believe that, and I'm a big fan of his, just like you guys are. But when I got into this sport 3 years ago, I told people I'm going to start doing MMA, and one of the first questions they'd ask me is, what weight class are you going to be in? And I would say 185. And right away, you just be like, isn't that Anderson Silva's weight class? Like, you better change weight classes, buddy. And just like that, and he deserves that type of respect from everybody because he's earned that, And but that motivated me, all throughout these 3 years of competing in mixed martial arts. It's motivated me, and I finally got to the point where I feel like I deserve the shot with him, and I really don't want to lose that opportunity, because I think I can make the best of it.
Can you take him?
What's that?
Can you take him?
Oh, yeah, no, I truly believe, man. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's, whatever. And, I truly believe I could beat him. I wouldn't be asking for this fight, if I didn't believe it, So I also, I don't only just believe I could beat him, I really believe I could go out there and finish him, And that's the mentality I'm going to have going into that fight. It's not going to be just to share the octagon with Anderson Silva, which I think a lot of other guys who he's fought kind of had that mentality going in. I'm going in there to do what I've been focusing on doing for 3 years, and that's getting that championship, and it's going to be awesome to beat Anderson Silva.
Good luck.
Thanks, buddy.
You've obviously established yourself as a top contender now in the middleweight division, and obviously Anderson Silva is in sight. Who or what do you do to prepare yourself for Anderson, and as far as who you're going to bring in to train with, and leading up to the fight, what kind of game plan do you go with into that?
I probably won't change too many things, to be honest with you. I'm gonna stick to what I do, and also to be honest with you, Mark Munoz, I asked for that fight. He was ranked third in the world, and I honestly thought, on paper, he was probably the toughest fight in all of the UFC for me, and I wanted the challenge, and I wanted to make a statement doing it. On paper, Anderson Silva is not the toughest fight for me. On paper.
Yeah.
On paper, if you're like a gambling
Yeah,
man. But obviously he's the freaking man. It's not going to be, I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but, it's going to be me walking forward. I don't think he's ever faced a guy with my reach before, my height before, and a guy who could, like when he fought Chael Sonnen, he has to explode in. And just like Mark Munoz, he has to explode in to get to me because we have longer reaches.
Right.
And Anderson Silva he did an awesome job his whole career just exploiting guys, with that. And I'm going to be able to stay in his face, without him hitting me, and be able to, look for punches, kicks, and also, obviously look for the takedown at the same time.
Right.
And I think that's going to be tough.
All right. Great luck to you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, Chris. Congratulations on that Mark Munoz fight, man. That was awesome.
Thank you, man. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. I personally think you could beat Anderson Silva as well, but if the UFC doesn't offer you the fight, is there anyone you would like to fight besides him?
Right now my mindset is 100% on Anderson Silva because no one told me for it not to be. UFC is pretty much telling me that's the fight I think that a good chance of happening. There's so many different variables going on with that. It's weird. It's so different from what I'm used to. But right now it looks like I have a shot at getting Anderson Silva, and that's really what I'm focusing on. I mean, that's the gold. That's the championship, that's Anderson Silva, and that's what I want, So if UFC was to come to me tomorrow or today and say, listen, we're not going to give you the Anderson Silva fight, I'd say, okay, and then I'd start thinking about different guys. But right now, it's Anderson Silva all the way.
Would you like to fight him in Brazil or here in the States?
I think Brazil is cool, man. I wouldn't shy away from that. I think that would be awesome because for me to get a W over him in Brazil, imagine that. I mean, you can't take that away from me. So I'm looking to take the biggest challenge possible.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris. Congratulations on your first win, or first fight against Munoz.
Thank you.
My question was, with the talent pool getting bigger in MMA and gyms getting bigger, what is your opinion on teammates fighting each other?
I mean, if the fight has to happen, I understand, and I think, you fight, man. It's just, if you try to make too much out of the fight game, it's going to, bring it down You know, I just think it's a competition. You're just going to compete against your friend. The better guy's going to win. I'm not going to be calling out my teammates anytime soon. But if I'm in a position where, you know, it's for the championship belt, and both of our goals our whole lives have been for to get the championship belt, I mean, obviously I think I'd fight, you know, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris. Big fan. I've enjoyed all of your fights so far.
Thank you.
There's all the internet talk about Anderson doesn't want to take a fight with you. What's your opinion on that? And do you think that the champion should be refusing any fights, or should they be accepting all comers that deserve to be there?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, the job for the champion is to fight, you know, the top contender. But I don't know. I haven't heard Anderson Silva speak. You know, I haven't heard him actually turn me down. I'm hoping that Anderson Silva is the guy who I think he is, and that he wants the biggest challenge and to face that challenge and defeat it. And I think I'm the biggest challenge right now. I know his managers on paper, I'm a bad matchup for him, you know, and obviously I don't have the biggest name. So his managers have come out kind of downplaying me, which is frustrating because I feel like I deserve to be where I'm at, and I got this opportunity to finally fight Anderson Silva, and I don't want, you know, politics to get involved. So we'll see what happens, you know.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Good round of applause over there. That was good. She's the best.
Hey, first off, Chris, just want to thank you for coming out and answering some fan questions, and congratulations on your recent success and coming into the UFC. I have a question about your camp over at Serra Longo. We've been noticing that Matt Serra's been packing on the pounds a little bit lately. Do you think he's preparing to take on John Jones?
He might be. I don't know. But I'm going to have to say something. I told Matt I was going to have his back on this question. I definitely, you know, that question's going to come up. I was at his house about 2 days ago. You know, I brought over my kids. We were hanging out. Little plate date, you know. And freaking his wife, man, nonstop with the food. It's like an Italian's heaven over there. Nonstop food. So if I was living in that house, I'd be twice the size of Matt. So I give him props for being where he's at, man. Like, it was ridiculous. They got homemade sauce in the jars for, like, I mean, from scratch they're making. The father-in-law has a garden, and it's top-notch vegetables and good tomatoes, all that stuff. And, you know, it was ridiculous. Nonstop food. From pasta to pizza to desserts and bread, and it was ridiculous.
That's awesome. I really like your guys' camp with Ally Quinta and everyone. Everyone out of that camp is really up and coming, and just had to ask the question.
Thanks, man. No problem.
Hey, Chris. Hey, congratulations on your last win with Mark Munoz. After seeing the couple fights of Anderson Silva, are you impressed with his performance, or are you confident going on to fight him?
I'm impressed with his performances, every single one he's ever had. You know, he finds a way to win. I mean, that Chael Sonnen fight, I mean, he had everything against him going into that fifth round. He found a way to win. You know, a lot of guys are giving up at that point. So I have nothing but props to give to Anderson Silva. But yeah, I'm still definitely very confident to get in there and knock down with him.
Okay, thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Chris, first of all, I was really thinking that Munoz was going to roll you up, so you booked him. Nice.
Are you Filipino?
I'm actually Guamanian.
Oh, okay, all right.
But he's Islander, so yeah. The elbow to the face was nasty.
Yeah, thanks,
I actually wanted to ask you, from Hofstra to Serra, what was the transition, and did you train with anybody else before you started working with Serra and Longo?
No, straight to Serra's and Longo's school, right from Hofstra. I was working with a bunch of fighters, like Pete Sell, Drago Sells, helping them with their wrestling, and a couple other guys. And then it was pretty much a, you know, easy transition right over there. They're both gyms are about 15 minutes from my house. You know, I'm born, bred in Long Island, never left, went to college there, got my master's there. I'm sick of being there, to tell you the truth, but I'm there, you know. But it was easy transition. It's you know, it's good. Worked out really good.
Cool. Good luck against Anderson.
Thanks, man. What's up, buddy?
Chris. So you have a wrestling background. Do you plan to use any of the tools that Chael Sonnen used on Anderson Silva? They kind of worked well in the first fight, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, and definitely, yeah, good question. Round of applause. That was good. You were checking yourself on the big screen. I saw you. You're famous now. Yeah, no, Chael Sonnen did a great job. Even in the second fight, he took him down. I'm like, wow, is this really happening again? It was so exciting, and definitely, you know, I'm a wrestler, and I got the jiu-jitsu accolades to go with it, and I'm definitely going to try to implement that at some point during the fight, you know.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Good question.
Hey, Chris. Appreciate you coming down. I'm back over here.
All right.
I had a question about, I know you've had 5 fights in the UFC. Of those 5, 3 of them, you've actually been the replacement. You've come in on short notice, and the last fight, I think it was only, 10, 11 days notice?
Damian Maia fight was, yeah.
The Maia fight,
Yes.
and then Mark Munoz. Have we actually seen your best, or, you know, can you say, because I haven't really had a full training camp, that we can expect more even?
You know, every time I had 2 full training camps so far in the UFC, and both of those, because I had the full training camp, I really did want to make a statement in those fights because I felt like you guys haven't seen my true potential, especially in the Damian Maia fight. You know, it was on Fox, and I really did want to make a, make that fight good and special and dominate it. But I was literally, it was 10 days notice. I was coming off my couch. I was 32 pounds overweight. I would never do that again. But obviously, you know, next fight I had full training camp, I was able to make a statement with that, you know. So I would say you saw me in my last 2, you know, my full training camp fights, you saw what I could do, you know.
Yeah, amazing. Appreciate it. I
Thank
got to
you.
ask, too, can I get an autograph when you're done?
Yeah, man, definitely. Anybody who wants an autograph.
Thanks.
Who yelled that over there? Yeah, good question. How did I lose all the weight in 10 days? It was terrible, man. Literally the worst thing I ever done in my life. I cut weight my whole life wrestling, so I always had the mentality like, listen, weight cutting is going to suck a little bit. That's just the way it is. You can't make it easy no matter what. But after that weight cut, 32 pounds in 10 days, I had literally gained a fear of weight cutting, and it was terrible. You know, I was delirious. I was literally standing on a scale, and Longo and Sarah were next to me holding the towel because you had like Ariane Celeste in the room, so obviously you can't be exposed. So I'm naked on the scale, and they got the towel in front of me, and the thing I had so much static electricity on me since I was so dry. The towel was actually clinging to my legs from like 3 feet away, like the bottom of the towel. We couldn't even weigh in. It was freaking ridiculous. I was fainting. It was just terrible thing. But I truly gained more confidence in the Damian Maia fight than I've had any fight, and I've probably had the most criticism on me from that fight because, you know, he was a top 5 guy in the world. He's been in there with Anderson Silva, went 5 rounds, beat Chael Sonnen, and I was able to find a way to win literally on probably 10 to 20% of, you know, what I could do. So, hey.
Hey there. So everyone kind of has their perks and their highs and then their lows in the sport. So for you, what is the easiest or the most enjoyable part about MMA, and what is the hardest or the most kind of difficult to overcome?
Most enjoyable part is definitely, listen, I have a true love of competition and challenging myself. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always, you know, into competition, overly competitive. And I think it's the ultimate competition in what we do. And even better than that, I get paid to do it, you know. And I come from a wrestling background where I never had any thought of really making any money. I just did it for the desire to compete. And for me to actually make money, it's a great feeling. Like, my first time making money, I did a jiu-jitsu tournament. And I did my weight class, and I did the absolute division. I had 13 guys my first jiu-jitsu tournament. After 3 months of jiu-jitsu, and it didn't feel like it was my hardest competition compared to my wrestling days. And for me to actually collect $1,000 after that, I was like, are you joking me? I'm going to do this every freaking month. I was like, I can make a living like this. And then obviously I got into MMA instead of just straight jiu-jitsu, but it was good.
And the hardest part?
Oh, and the hardest part? I don't know. I don't think there's, probably the hardest part is probably just trying to juggle your family and your training. Because you come home, you're exhausted, you know, and then you got your 2 kids who you want to spend a lot of time with, and it's just like you're already shot, and you have to try to gather some energy to play with them, you know, make them feel special. So that's definitely a hard part, and you got to just try to make it work, you know.
Cool.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, what's up, Chris? Hey, I had
What's
a
up,
quick
man?
question, man.
Amir Sadala?
Nah,
Kinda
do I
look
look
like
like him?
a little bit. I was with him last night. I thought you were him for a second. I got bad eyes, though, don't worry.
With so many top fighters being approved for TRT, I was curious what your take on it is. Like, I know Chael Sonnen, Forrest Griffin, there's a lot of guys coming out being approved for that. I was curious, what's your take on that, and do you think it's like an unfair advantage for fighters, or do you basically, what's your overall take on that subject?
I mean, it's definitely a complicated thing. I was 100%, I'm still trying to learn about it because I don't understand it that much, but I don't like it, to tell you the truth, because I just don't understand why these guys who are 35 years old, their testosterone is low, okay? That's a natural thing that happens, okay? If your testosterone is low and you feel like you can't train, you can't fight, I mean, that's kind of your body telling you you're kind of ready to retire. But that's a hard thing to tell a guy who's making the most money of his life and trying to support his family. So I don't like it because it's like giving them an unfair advantage. Experience is so important in this sport. So to give a 35-year-old guy the same testosterone as a 20-year-old kid is kind of not fair, I think. But it's legal, and guys are doing it. And I don't know. I'm not going to be changing the law anytime soon. But you know, it is what it is.
So, like, if a fighter signed to fight you and he was a fighter that was approved for TRT, would you have any problem accepting the fighter, or does that have any outcome on the effect if you were going to accept the fight or not?
No, I'll accept the fight regardless. But to be honest with you, I've had like all my blood work done, and I've seen my testosterone score. I'm 28 years old, never done any type of steroid in my life, and I'm nowhere close to what these guys are allowed to be taking. So it's like crazy to me. Like, I'm 28, never taken anything, and you guys are allowed to get up to there. And I don't want to be that guy who goes on TRT, and my whole life now I have to be on testosterone replacement therapy, and like, that's like I don't know, you have to take that forever. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, so it's like, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of it,
Thanks, man, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
How you doing?
Well, my question deals more with being a hardcore fan. A lot of we at least critique fights as they happen. We sometimes criticize the way a game plan is followed, and I'm wondering how studying the tapes, how it's that happens, or how you do that and everything, and how much that plays in, and how having a wrestling background, I'm sure you probably have to do that when you had matches and everything, and how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not big into it. I know, I've heard John Jones say, he studies his opponents so much, he knows everything about them. He knows them better than themselves, and he watches all their interviews and knows their, personality and their weaknesses, mentality, in their mentality and stuff like that. That's not me at all. When I was in college, I was, my first 2 years, I was coached by a guy who was coached under what's his name, Dan Gable, and my coach, Tom Ryan. He coached at Ohio State now, and he was never really into watching tapes, really, and I think that comes down from, Dan Gable, is, not really focus on what that other guy's doing, but focus on what you do, and I think that, your offense is the best defense. I think that is the best mentality. I do watch my opponents fight. I watch maybe Mark Munoz fight, maybe 10 times, different fights, whatever. I didn't even watch all his fights. I might have watched 4 fights, but a total of 10 times.
Yeah,
I had an understanding of what he does. I think it's important to have an understanding of what he does, and then focus on what you're good at. Because listen, if I start seeing this guy is really good in some position, but I think I'm decent there, but if I keep watching and thinking he might be better than me there, I'm gonna get there in the fight and I'll be like, shoot, I shouldn't be here. He's better than me here, and then. I'd rather not think that. I'd rather be confident in all my positions that I've been working on, than start overthinking everything.
Yeah, and I also had another question. When Dan Hardy was training for GSP, and Dan Hardy had, I think, a purple belt with 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, which is, highly in offense it's perfect for MMA, at least in my opinion. And I was wondering if you have any knowledge, if you would ever use rubber guard or, twister side control or anything like that, if you practice any Eddie Bravo stuff.
I actually, when I started jiu-jitsu, I refused to go on top because I knew that would probably come easiest to me because I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I actually have so much fun going on my back. I mean, you go to Renzo Gracie's or Sarah's Academies and ask where I'm at the most, I'm always on my back, I always like playing off my back because, listen, that's going to be the worst position you're in a fight is on your back and a guy pound down on you. So I want to be better there than anywhere else. And I've been working on that literally for 3 years, and no one's passed my guard anymore. It's impossible.
That's awesome.
Impossible. No, I'm kidding.
All right, man. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. So I was just wondering, when you look at all of everybody that Anderson Silva's fought previously and beaten, what do you think sets you apart from all of those fighters? Is it namely your wrestling, or like how you said earlier, your height and reach, or is there something else that you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a bunch. I think there's a bunch of things. Number one, my mentality. A lot of those guys went in there kind of defeated before they got in there, and like I'm not taking anything away from Anderson Silva. I think he did that to them. He you know, his hard work made them intimidated by him, and he deserves, you know, to have that. But I'm not going in there to be intimidated. If I lose, it's going to be because he was better than me. That's it. You know, I refuse to lose because I beat myself. So also, obviously, the reach, you know, the size, the height, all that stuff. And he's never faced a wrestler with the jiu-jitsu that I have. I think is going to be another big part of that, you know.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Let me just say thank you for the picture outside. I met you
Yeah,
before.
I was about to say, we just took a picture. How you doing?
Who got you into MMA, and who are your role models in life?
Who got me into MMA?
Was it like a fight or somebody in particular that you watched, or what?
It was a lot of things. You know, obviously I was wrestling. I was trying out for the 2008 Olympics, and I was always watching the fighting, but I wasn't like a diehard fan or anything.
Mhm.
But I liked it. I grew up fighting. Got beat up a lot from my older brother and his friends, and just always loved to fight. And then and when MMA, I started seeing that, I kind of was like, wow, I think I'd probably be good for that. Even when I was wrestling in high school, I would look across, you know, the mat before we stepped down. I'd be like, you know, I would love to fight this guy. Forget about wrestling him. You know, that was happening early on. You know, what was the question again? Where are we going?
Who are your role models in life?
My role models, probably my dad, my mom, just really hardworking people, and so supportive of me, you know, through, you know, thick and thin. So,
Thank you, and good luck in your next fight.
thank you.
Chris, I was wondering, as a fighter or in your daily life, what drives you to be the best in your sport and want that title fight against Anderson Silva?
Just to be the best, and you know, everybody, the supporters, you guys being here right now, I think drives me. Doubters, you know, I get on the forums and every once in a while, so I see what people are saying, you know, and every little thing drives me. You know, there's so many different things. My kids, you know, motivate me. My family, you know, I have to support my family at this point, and you know, before I go to the gym every day, I can't just go to the gym and goof around, you know, because I'm not just hurting myself, I'm hurting my kids at this point. So I want to be able to go to the gym and then come home and look at my kids in the eyes, knowing that I'm working as hard as I possibly can. You know, just like any other job, you know, that's what you do. You know, you work as hard as you can, and that's it, and you hope for the best. That's really what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
What's up, man? How you doing?
We've all seen bad decisions after a good fight. As a fighter, how accurate are you at scoring fights?
I'm the best. Just like everybody else thinks. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. I don't know. You never know with the judges, you know.
Yeah.
I think I would be a good judge though if I happen to become a judge, but you know, I don't know.
Do you think there's a way to fix it?
I think just time. You know, the sport's so new. The longer it goes on, the more educated the judges are going to get, and hopefully everybody gets on the same page, because you have some judges that score the fights completely different, and it's kind of weird. You don't know where they're coming from. Everybody should be on the same page.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, buddy. Stop looking at yourself on the big screen. I see you. Stop doing it. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I was wondering, if you do fight Anderson Silva, what your prediction is, what you'll do to beat him.
I'm gonna prepare just like every other fight, just like the Mark Munoz fight. Prepare for the worst possible thing. You know, just constantly him punching, kicking me. You know, just go through a total war, and I'm gonna come back and find a way to win. I prepare for that every single time I fight. But I'm gonna be going for the finish the entire fight, and I'm gonna be looking for the takedown, looking for the submission, looking for the knockout. You know, so I just want to be dangerous everywhere, and yeah, and hopefully it works out for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With nothing official between you and Silva yet, are you worried that the fight between Belfort and Belcher, that winner could potentially jump you in the rankings?
I don't know. I think even if they do have an impressive victory in that fight, I think I beat, you know, two top guys, you know, better than them. So I still think I would be most deserving, but I actually haven't even thought about it till you asked me that now. Whatever happens, happens. I want to fight Anderson Silva.
Let me say this, as a
Okay.
hardcore fan, I know who you are, but as a lot of people that are on the sort of periphery of UFC, and especially MMA, I don't think that perhaps a lot of people out there see you. I mean, you have to imagine the major Twitter following that went along with Chael Sonnen to get him that rematch with Anderson. I mean, do you feel like people are pushing that hard for you right now?
I think people are pushing hard for me, but it's if the UFC decides to make the fight, I have full confidence in the UFC being able to promote this fight the way they promote fights. You know, I have no doubt. Listen, I was in my parents' basement a year ago. I think it's going to be different. It's not going to be like Chael Sonnen. I'm not going to be talking smack. It's going to be, I think, I would hope it'd be more of like an inspirational thing. I was living in my parents' basement a year ago with my family. Now I'm out. Three years of doing mixed martial arts total, and I'm fighting the best fighter of all time. Imagine I go out there and beat him. Another thing is, Anderson Silva, you know, he fought one time before he went for the title against Chris Leben. Who knew him at that point? Was he a huge star? You got to take a chance, you know? And I hope UFC takes a chance with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I definitely liked a lot of your answers and your insights. I've gained some respect for you here, getting to know you a little bit.
You hated me before this, didn't you?
Oh, I did not. I
Are
liked
you an
you as
Anderson Silva big, huge fan?
I
am
hate
too. so I'm
Anderson
not-
Silva.
Really?
America, man.
Stop it. Gonna get me sniped out here. Where are the Brazilians at? Love you guys.
Hey, I don't dislike them, but
Nah,
if they're
nah.
fighting an American, you know, I'm probably going to root for the American.
I'm putting my head down on this one.
But anyway, we've got to know you a little bit in terms of the fight world, but what do you like to do outside? Are you a golfer? What are you into?
Am I a what?
Are you a golfer, or what are some of the things you enjoy outside of fighting besides your family?
I tried golfing a couple of times. I wanted to be good at it. I am the worst. Terrible. But I hang out with my family a lot. You know, I've got great cousins, great sister. I just got a lot of great people around me, so I try to hang out with them a lot. I got good friends. You know, I play video games. I like to game a little bit. You know, just eat food. Hang out at Matt Serra's house. Just eat ridiculous amounts of Italian food. It's like heaven. He's got a nice pool too in the backyard. It's saltwater pool. You ever been in one of those?
I have. I love it.
It's refreshing.
I could spend all day eating and sitting in a pool.
Exactly. Me too.
You're going to get me fat just talking about it.
I know. I got to get up and work out. That's all.
Exactly.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Chris. You've been known, or you've become an elite grappler in the division. You've had some pretty impressive submission victories so far. Being a jiu-jitsu person, what is a favorite submission you like to go for?
If I was to pick one submission that I love, I'd like to hit the Peruvian necktie on somebody in the octagon. I think that would be sick. I was actually looking to get it on Mark Munoz, but he did a good job holding those hands. He didn't want to go out like that. You know, that's a tough one to take. You know, so he did a good job staying away from it. But that's always a cool submission. You know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
How's it going, Chris?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
With the Olympics on, well, I really enjoy the Olympics and I love MMA. What are your thoughts on combining the two?
I think that would be awesome, but I don't know. Maybe it'd probably end up being like amateur boxing and pro boxing, a little bit different. I have no idea. I haven't put too much thought in it. I don't want to start saying things just to say it, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it'd be good. No, I don't know.
It would be good.
You tell me. There you go. All right,
Be
good.
awesome.
There you go. Yeah, MMA and Olympics.
Hey, Chris.
What's up?
You mentioned judging earlier. What do you think of the new unified changes coming? New changes coming to the judging criteria?
What's going on with that?
More aggression. Guys can get points now for fighting off their back, for being more aggressive and having submissions than the guy laying and praying on top.
No, I agree with that. I'm with you. I'm a wrestler, and so you would think I'd be okay with guys, you know, just laying and praying. No, it's not good. You know, if you're a wrestler, get your takedowns. The guy should be able to get up, but the whole time you shouldn't be, you know, staying in his guard. You gotta look to pass. You gotta look to really ground and pound and be aggressive. So, I like it. I like the new judging criteria.
How do you feel about Anderson ducking you?
I don't want to be that guy who's saying he's ducking me, man. I know his
He's
manager.
ducking
It
you.
seems like he is, but I don't want to be that guy to say it. I have no problem with you guys
He's,
saying
he's
it.
calling out
you know?
GSP, a guy half his size. He doesn't want to fight you.
Oh man, you got yeah. I don't know.
He's ducking you.
I can't say it. I can't do it. Can't do it. But
Good luck.
I'll tell you this. I really believe I am his biggest threat, and I think he knows
agree.
that. But one part of me would think that he would want to take that challenge and see how he would do with it, because if he was able to beat me on paper, I think I'm his toughest matchup, and I think that would be huge for his career. I mean, his legacy.
But he won't beat you, so that's the problem.
You're my man. I like your shirt, by the way, and shorts. Haircut, everything. You're looking good.
I'm good, man.
I won't look at you anymore. It's getting weird.
Hey, Chris, watching a lot of Dana White interviews with all the fighters that are dropping out with injuries, how do you walk that fine line of like training as hard as you can for a fight, but protecting yourself so you're not getting injured?
Yeah, definitely a good question, and I put that in the hands of Ray Longo. You ever hear of him, the big guy?
Yeah.
What was it, Tough Six he was on? Everybody know?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he'll make sure you know that if you have you ever heard of Tough Six?
Yes,
But
I have.
yeah, no, he's really good, man. You know, a lot of people kind of dictate who a good coach is and who isn't a good coach by like their pad holding skills, or just something small like how they teach a technique or something like that. But it's so much more than that. It's being able to understand your fighter and know when to push him, know when to pull him back. If the guy's hurting and he's complaining, you know the guy enough to know if it's a serious injury, not a serious injury, if you should push him. And he does better than anybody I ever had as a coach with that. And I'm lucky to have him, and it's good.
Nice. And in your professional opinion, should Reed Harris give me his business card? Because that was the best question you've ever heard.
What was the
And
question
I'm
again?
moving on. All right.
I'll let him decide that. Hello.
Hi, Chris. How
Could
are
someone
you?
get the mic down for her? There you go. What a gentleman.
Thank you. Welcome to Colorado.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What is your view on women fighting in the UFC?
I like it. I think it's pretty good. I guess it's when Dana decides he wants to do it, it's going to happen, and that's it. I'm not in that business, but I like it. I actually enjoy watching them fight.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. What's going on, man?
Every
a lot
professional
of,
athlete-
a lot of big Bronco fans here. Hang on, I got a question for you guys. Have you ever heard of? Oh, I'm not going to say that. All right. Who is the only non-player to be inducted into the Denver Bronco Ring of Fame? There's only one of them. The Barrel Man. Who? The Barrel Man. No, you're wrong. All wrong. Wait, Gerald Phipps? No. Gerald Phipps. Who knows Gerald Phipps? Who's Gerald Phipps? Yeah, see, he was right. I'm serious. He was the owner in the 80s. Oh, you guys aren't Broncos fans. This is ridiculous. I gotta get out of here. I'm just kidding. He wins. No, I'm kidding. But my aunt married into that family. That's why I'm bringing him up. I don't get any trickle-down effect, though. It's unfortunate. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's
buddy.
all right, no problem.
And you guys are Broncos fans. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm a Bears fan.
You're a what?
I'm a Bears fan from Chicago.
Boo.
Yeah, we just got, hey, I can admit it, and you guys whipped the shit out of us yesterday, so.
Run, buddy.
Oh, no. Hey, my question is, every professional athlete understands their strengths and weaknesses. One, what are yours? You don't have to, let us know, but what are you doing to work on them? And two, what type of fighter do you feel would be a major threat against you if you had to bet on today? My favorite fighter is Jose Aldo. I think he's a huge beast.
I agree.
So-
I agree. He is a beast. What was the first part of the question?
Are you hard of hearing?
I'm hard of hearing. I got a little cauliflower ear in this ear. It's messing me up sometimes.
The first part was every athlete understands their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
One, what are your
I got
weaknesses
you.
that you?
All right. I got you. Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt.
No problem.
Yeah, I think as far as accolade-wise, I've competed outside the UFC and outside MMA with wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So anytime you get accolades for doing something, you feel more confident in that because you've tested your skills against, top guys in the world. I haven't done that with boxing or kickboxing. I wasn't able to, compete in boxing or kickboxing. I just said that. But in the gym, I do well against top guys. So if I had to say one weakness, because I don't have the accolades in it, would be stand up.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Hey, Chris.
I missed this other part, I know.
Say you get the fight with Anderson Silva. Say you win. What's going to be the biggest success out of that? Winning against Anderson Silva, dethroning him, getting the belt, or just getting the W?
Oh man, I think it's probably going to be all three at one time. Yeah, that's going to be amazing, man. Like I said, since I got in the sport 3 years ago, I've been visualizing fighting Anderson Silva and getting that championship through him, because he's the man, and you want to beat the man, and to be the man, you got to beat the man. So it would just be an amazing feeling, you know.
Chris, big fan, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I got a simple question no one's asked yet. Who do you got tomorrow?
Frankie Edgar, that's my boy, New
That's
Jersey.
right. Nice pick, nice pick.
Thanks. He's the man. No, but with that, I'll just go into a little, I'll analyze it a little bit. I think last fight, Frankie did a good job. I think he was actually able to take him down pretty easy, but he couldn't actually keep him down because I think he was a little bit cautious with the jiu-jitsu. You know, I think he kind of respected Henderson's jiu-jitsu a little bit too much. Like if you remember the Kimura position with Henderson, and he kind of like just backed out as soon as he went for it, as soon as he touched for it. And I think if Edgar, believes in his jiu-jitsu in this fight, I think he gets the W.
Who do you think won last fight?
Edgar.
Me too.
Yeah. Are you from New York, Jersey?
No, Detroit.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought you got a little tape up there.
But
That's
I'm a
what,
big
under
fan.
the hat.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, what's up, man?
One question. The UFC has been a huge force now in sports and fans and driving as a new thing. What do you think needs to be continuously done to continue making it as great as it is?
I mean, I guess it just keeps on becoming more international, of a sport. And I think the more countries we get into, the more states, if we can get into New York, I think it's going to be huge, and that just pisses me off that I get to, I fight everywhere else in the world, and I come back to my home state where I can't even freaking fight. It's like a slap in the face from New York. But, yeah, no, I think they just got to keep doing what they're doing, and I put my faith, you got Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta, and those guys are pretty good at what they do, so I'm sure it's going to be just fine.
One good thing with fighters like you and upcomers, this should continue to grow and be as great as it should be, okay?
I
Keep it up.
appreciate that, man. Take care.
Chris, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Glad to see you in Colorado. Glad to see you here answering questions.
Thank you.
We're going to touch on something small. You're backing up Frankie Edgar tomorrow night. He is one of only 2 fighters in the UFC that I know of that fight at their natural weight class, Lyoto Machida being the other one right now. Anderson Silva also has done the same thing, moving up to light heavyweight, knocking out an ex-champion, knocking out a contender. Do you find yourself ever not having to do that mental battle doing weight loss, fighting at your natural weight? And when will the UFC actually have fighters doing that all the time?
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, man, to tell you the truth. I don't think guys, what they did with like wrestling, like collegiately, you had a couple of guys who died, cutting weight because they were just cutting too much weight, and it was day before weigh-ins. And then because of that, they made a day of weigh-ins and an hour. You only have an hour before after you make weight to actually compete. So you don't cut as much weight because you're going to feel bad competing. But guys still cut crazy amount of weight. It's all about just getting that little bit of an advantage. And if I was to go up to 205, I walk around like 210 maybe. If I'm eating, pretty good.
Exactly, but you stated that your biggest fear was cutting weight. So
No. After I just have the last weight cut with Damian Maia gave me a fear of cutting weight. But I made that Mark Munoz weight cut easy. It wasn't literally pretty good. So I'm back on track. I respect weight cutting. I don't fear it in the grand scheme of things. I fear doing what I did against Damian Maia. That was kind of ridiculous.
Okay, cool, man. Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you, man. Good question.
How's it going, Chris?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So Anderson Silva brings Steven Seagal. Mayweather brings Beaver and 50 Cent. Who would you bring?
Kim Kardashian. She's in.
It's a good one.
Just kidding.
That's it.
Yeah, thanks, man. You guys don't like Kim Kardashian? All right, fine. What? What's that? No. Too good looking for me.
Hey, Chris, I was actually just curious if you thought that strikers actually are at a disadvantage nowadays because they're trained to take shots, and with the lighter gloves in the UFC, you see people that do kickboxing, boxing that are trained in that are getting knocked loopy a little bit earlier because, like I said, they're trained to take shots as part of their training. So do you think as a wrestler that gives you an advantage?
I never thought of that, but actually, that's a good point. I know that in sparring, if I'm not doing good standing up, I could take the guy down. I'm not getting beat up as bad. And if you're a striker and you're getting beat striking, it's like you're getting hit a little more. So it does make sense. I never really thought about it, but I don't know if it gives me an advantage, but who knows?
Cool. Thanks.
Good question, though. That was good. I'm going to do a study on that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to ask you, what do you think of the Cerrone-Goulart fight? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. That's actually a really good fight. That's going to be a sick fight. I'm going to have to go with Cerrone on that one.
And why? Why do you think?
I think the range, I think he's good at fighting tall. And, when he fought Nate Diaz last, and I think that Nate Diaz was the same height as him, had the same reach as him, and I don't think he was really used to that. But Goulart, he's going to go back to where he's comfortable, and that's going to be ranging, kicking, and punching. I think he's going to be all right.
All right, so listen, a couple things. First of all, I want to give our production crew a hand. I don't know if you see this, but they've got Chris Weidman, the All-American, surrounding the stadium here for his Q&A. So let's give them a hand.
Hey!
Yeah, production. Chris flew out here from the East Coast, came out here just to do this. And this is what our fighters do. Our fighters are great. They volunteer for this stuff. They don't get paid. They come out here on their own in order to interact with the fans. So before I say goodbye to Chris, I want to tell you who our winner is. It's the little boy in the red shirt who broke down Anderson Silva's fight for us. I thought anybody that age that knows how to break a fight down like that deserves some gear, huh?
Without a doubt, man.
All right,
Congratulations,
so I'll give you my
buddy.
card when we get done.
And the mom is most enthusiastic of the night.
Yeah,
best
that's right,
best
that's
round
right.
of applause, everything. You're good, too.
All right, so let's give Chris a big hand. Chris, the All-American Weidman.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to run some stuff for you now, and the weigh-ins will start at 4 o'clock.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for coming out.